Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Why I Love Flagler County, your local podcast spotlighting local businesses and local residents on why they like being in Flagler County. So today I'm super excited to have my guest, Mr. Mark Granam, with me today. We had his brother on a few weeks ago, so it's super cool. I get the to get to complete the set here coming in now. So thank you so much, Mark, for coming on here and spending a few minutes with me.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, I'll kind of go into it because you kind of mentioned right before we started recording that you've been here in Flagler for almost 20 years, which is a crazy amount of time nowadays. I feel like I've talked to people who here like 3 to 4 years, but I'm sure you've just seen the community completely change before your eyes.
Yes. There was a lot of just two-lane roads now, where now there's four-lane roads, and the shopping centers have tripled in this area. Storage units have tripled in this area. So yeah, we've definitely seen a lot of growth.
That's so cool. So what brought you originally down here to Flagler?
Actually, my brother and myself were in the financial industry, and we moved down here to open an office in Daytona, and the market kind of went belly up right after we moved down here. So I went back to my roots of working on cars. Within about 6 months to moving down here, and I just came up with a concept one day of, if why not bring the automotive shop to the customer. So I started Mobil Mark. So basically working word of mouth, and was able to work on cars in customers' driveways.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, they kind of, but I would love for you to go just a little bit into what does that mean? Like, do people call you up and you kind of show up and you do all of the work remotely? Like, what does that entail for someone who might not have any knowledge of that?
Yeah, basically, I mean, most cars are all the same as far as mechanically wise. The electronics, cars are built differently. The higher ends got a lot more things than the lower end cars do. But as far as my business concept, starting off, I worked with a lot of parts stores, bought a lot of lunches, and just let the parts stores know in the area that if any customers came in and bought parts and they were looking for someone to install them, to refer them to me. So I started off by myself, like I said, in 2005, almost 20 years ago. And when the phone wasn't ringing, I was making flyers. I just found one of my flyers the other day that was for an auto detail and oil change for $100. And I was making those flyers and sticking them on the little wing on people's mailboxes, driving
Mm.
all over town. I mean, I got created in the beginning. I would drive down the road, and if I seen a car in somebody's driveway with the hood up, I'd pull in and say, "Oh, I'm here to work on your car," and I had no clue who they were. They had no clue who I was. And they were like, "Oh, we didn't call anybody." I was like, "Oh, you didn't? I must have the wrong address." And I mean, I played it off because I mean, I had a little girl to feed, and I had a family to feed, and we needed to make a living, and this was it for me. So I got creative, and business owners, they all can relate to me on that creative aspect on it. If you're going to make it happen, it's up to you. You're going to go out there and do it. So I was able to do it. That's how we started. But anyways, basically, people call me now that I've got my name. Not trying to blow up my own head, but now that I've got my name in the market. Basically, people call me. We schedule anywhere from a day to 3 days out. And we do regular maintenance in people's driveways to cars that won't start. That's a very common one. And normally it's something simple as far as a battery or something, jump starts, lockouts. Um, Over the last 20 years, I have gotten a shop as well here in Benel. We've got a four-bay shop. I've got 6 guys that work for me at the shop, and one guy that stays on the road consistently 40 to 45 hours a week. So we're have grown since the early beginnings, but we do just about everything on the road except for tires.
That makes sense. That's so cool. And I completely understand the getting creative part. I know my dad has been in business for over 20 years, and he used to tell me stories of what he used to do, places he used to drive, things he used to go to just to really get experience and get his name
Yeah,
out there when he was first starting out. And it's cool that we have social media now, but I think doing those like hard things of going door to door and talking to
yeah.
people in person and seeing that rejection in person. I don't know
Yeah.
if I would say maybe a lost art, but I think it's something that it was definitely a good training ground, being very uncomfortable physically in places. Definitely
Yes.
teaches you a few things when it comes to sales and business and
Yeah.
entrepreneurship.
Yeah. And I mean, just statistics. I mean, most businesses fail within the first 5 years just
Right.
because they don't keep running the road. You know, you're a day away from exploding, and you got
Oh
to
yeah.
you got to keep telling yourself that, because if you get, there's days you're frustrated. There's days that I came home with no money, and the wife's asking me, well, how are we going to pay the bills? Tomorrow's a new day. Let me get back up. But most people, they throw in the towel before they reach that plateau, I guess, if you will, or reach
Right.
that mountain.
Yeah.
So it's just keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And especially if you have that passion, like you clearly sound like you know exactly what you're doing when it comes to cars. You know the problems. I'm sure like when someone calls you and it's like, "Hey, I don't know why my car is doing this." And you're like, "Oh no, I know exactly. Tell me 2 minutes. I know exactly what's going on and I know
Yeah,
exactly how to fix it." And
exactly.
so that's where sometimes you kind of have to rely on those like, "All right, I know I'm an expert in this field. I know I can help people and I know that I'm going to be the best one for the job." And that's kind of the mindset you'll have to have during those really hard times when people seem like they don't understand your value.
Yes, exactly. But
Yeah.
we try to save the customer their tow bill, try to save them. Back then, labor rates weren't as much as they are today.
Right.
Um, on the aspect of things, I have a lot of friends in the area that run their own shops and whatnot. So, and I have the parts stores help me figure out what labor rates are in the area. So, you don't want to be taking advantage of people by
Right.
charging them too much, but yet you don't want to be cutting other shops' throats by doing it dirt cheap either.
Right.
Um, so the more you grow, the last scanner that I had bought so that we can scan these newer cars, the hybrids and things. The last scanner that I bought was a $20,000 scanner.
Mm.
I've got a $78,000 alignment machine. It takes money to make money to keep turning a profit. So,
Right.
but my goal when I started the business was to have a cost effective way for customers to get their cars done very quickly.
Hmm.
Just do what you say you're going to do, and earn an honest day's living on an honest day's pay. And so now my motto is, I put all over Facebook and everything, is to keep Flagler moving.
Mm.
That's my ultimate goal, is to be the number one call on everybody's phones. To and not everybody I can get to the same day. I know their car is their livelihood, but we try our best to get to them as quickly as we possibly can, and do the right job the first time out and get them back on the road as quickly as we can.
Yeah, I mean, even 1 to 3 days is a pretty amazing, turnaround time. Because I
Yeah.
know sometimes there are shops when they have to book a week out. It's just how some
Yes.
shops are different and everyone's different. And I
Yeah.
think when I heard 1 to 3 days, I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. I
Uh,
mean, I've talked to some shops that have told me, anywhere from, 3 weeks to a month out. And I'm
right.
like, how do you get your customers to wait that long? I mean, I've got people that will call me, and, if I'm not there within an hour, they're asking, calling and say, where are you? And it's, it can get frustrated, but
Sure.
we make it happen.
That's awesome. Well, I love that motto, keeping Flagler moving. That's obviously perfect for what you do, and I think it's so catchy. It makes so much sense.
Thank you.
So since you've been here for about 20 years, I'm sure like I said, you've seen the community just completely change and I'm sure flourish. What advice would you have for maybe the new people coming into Flagler or maybe wherever they might be listening, on how to get a little bit active in the community, how to kind of integrate a little bit into the community with people such as yourself who have been here for 20 plus years?
I mean, there's a lot of great churches in the area. Um, I've got a lot of customers, so there's been past years that I have bounced around to different churches and met a lot of different folks, that have invited me to church, not to go there to get business. On
Right.
Sundays, that's my family day. I don't want to even look at a car on Sundays. I'd rather walk. But my brother's shop, Good Vibes, that's a great place to meet people. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in this area. They have meetings every month. There's different groups that, meet weekly.
Hmm.
Um, just get out there. There's not a big industry in this community. So just seeing on social media and whatnot, everybody wants to bash the community about, not being able to make money, not be able to live here just because they can't, there's no industries out there. Well, find out what you love, find out what you're good at, find out what is the niche.
Right.
Supply and demand. That's the name of the game. So, find out what you're good at, do it to the best of your ability, and, be a man of your word.
Right. And I think people will be surprised by how much things there are, what missing gaps are in the community. You always,
Exactly.
I think when people think of ideas like, oh, that's already been done. I'm sure someone's doing that. I'm sure someone's better at me than that. You'd be surprised. Like I haven't met too many people. I know some people run podcasts, but I haven't met too many people who do it. It's not like a crazy big
Yeah.
thing, but I know there are people doing that, but I can't be like, oh, well, one person has a podcast. I can't do it in the entire 80,000 people community. I'm like, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think people would be very surprised by being like, oh, there actually is something a little different that I can offer, even if someone's doing something similar. I'm sure there's all personal spin someone can do on. Like there are a lot of auto shops in the community, but yours is completely unique, very different. You add your personal touch to it.
Plus, there's enough cars out there for everybody.
There's a lot of cars.
You know, there's a lot of shops that I refer business to, and there's a lot of shops that refer business to me. It don't have to be a cutthroat world out there.
Exactly.
I'm a big firm believer in, raise that person up next to you, and that's only going to make you shine. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I
but
think
there's
that makes
enough people out there for multiple people doing, blogs
right.
and podcasts. So, just
Right.
go out there and make it happen. If it's your passion, you can make it happen. So that's my best
Exactly.
advice. Just make it
Yeah.
happen.
And you mentioned your brother's shop, Good Vibes, yeah, this, and you're completely right. There's so many people that go there. Like I remember my mom went one morning, and then she came back, and she's like, "I think I met like four people from your networking group within the like 20 minutes she was there."
Oh yeah.
And then I saw them the next month, like, "I saw your mom yesterday." And I'm like, "Yep, that was my mom." And
Yeah.
it's just funny how, there are places where the community meets, and finding those places isn't hard when you're looking for that.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, well, Mark, I appreciate you coming on and sharing a few minutes. I completely loved your take on things and all the advice that you shared. Is there any last thing you kind of want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
Um, no, not off the top of my head. Thanks for having me.
Of
It's been
course.
a pleasure. So hopefully we can actually meet face to face one day and
Yes,
rub
hopefully at Good
shoulders. So,
Vibes.
okay.
Well, before we wrap it up, what is the best way someone can get in contact with you if they want to learn more about what you do, if they need some of your services, where are some of the places they can contact you?
All right. My website is mobilmark.biz. You can reach the shop phone at 386-793-9348. It was a cell phone for the last 18 years. I just had it converted over to a landline, actually three landlines.
Oh,
So I've got two service writers and myself that answer the phone now. So no texting on that number. You can also email me at mobilemark underscore or mobile underscore mark at yahoo.com. We're on Facebook at Mobil Mark. So just reach out. There's multiple ways to get a hold of me. I'm all over Google, all over Yelp, all over all the pages. So
perfect. And then I'll make sure I link a lot of those in the description so people can click on them just a little bit easier. Mark, again, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your viewpoints and expertise. I thought that was really fun. And thank you to everyone listening. I'll see you next time.